game on the road, big W in the Mike Vrabel era. You gotta love to see it. It's Victory Monday. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Patriots MayeFlower Voyage series here on NE Patriots Talk channel. Hope you guys are having an awesome day. Thank you so much for taking this time to watch this big W against the Miami Dolphins at South Beach, Florida. You gotta love to see it. As always, I'm your Commander-in-Chief, Dal, a.k.a. DTN, and I got my boy Andy, my boy Austin in here. How are we boys doing?
We are doing pretty damn awesome. I mean, like I said in the lead up, it doesn't feel like it's been 24 hours since that game. It feels like it's been forever and a day. It's been a dog's age since we've seen a really true, gritty, gutsy Patriots win. I was saying that after we beat the Bengals last year in the season opener, and I'm like, oh shit. That game might have been close, but if we look back at it as Pats fans, it was kind of dull. It just wasn't. There was a lot of excitement in this Dolphins game yesterday, and we haven't seen we can say like, oh, the defense sucks or the offense sucks all we want, but it's like you look at yesterday and you think this is the way that games at Hard Rock Stadium usually look. And the Patriots usually come out on the wrong side of things. Not so yesterday. And we will mention that later in the live stream. And I'm going to ask my boy Austin how he's doing today.
Ecstatic. I think that win was it just felt like a year in the making. It felt like everything culminated together. We obviously had the rough week one start, but I think we kind of went into this game kind of understanding the Dolphins are bottom of the barrel in terms of team. And you look at their team, you look at our team and all the injuries they're going through and all the, locker room cancer type stuff. You just kind of went into it going, there's no way we can lose this. And, it was a little shaky throughout, right? But we ended up pulling it out. And I mean, I'm just ecstatic to, watch meaningful football. It feels like we knew it was a game we needed to win just to get some confidence in the building there. And we went out and did exactly that.
To watch anything, I know I'm not glorifying us in any way, but to watch anything that even had a resemblance, I should say, to that Ravens-Bills game on Monday Night Football a week ago, to see something that looked even the remotest bit like that. It wasn't quite as exciting. I mean, I could understand that game being really nerve-wracking if you were either a Bills or a Ravens fan. But there were, enlighten me, guys, was it how many lead changes in this game? It wound up being 5, 6, and they were all in the fourth quarter. That's one of them was in the third because the Dolphins took the lead early in the third. But that was some exciting ball yesterday afternoon in South Beach.
That was actually one of the most heart-beating moments I've ever had because obviously I was out of town again. I actually went to a vintage market and I got myself an old classic Bruins jersey. I did see a couple of Patriots old jerseys and some Patriots memorabilia, but I decided to get myself a Bruins jersey because why not? You got to represent the Big B. And before we get started with the whole logistics and get into the whole spiel, I have something for all of you Patriots fans to enjoy. And by the way, guys, I'll save all of your questions. I'll start all your questions just so I make sure I don't forget about it. But huge shout out to our good old friend, Master at Work, former panelist for the ACS Roundtable. This guy was known for his memes, clips, edits. This has been a big meme ever since after that Patriots Dolphins game. You gotta see this. This is something you will enjoy.
All right. Let's see it, Dal.
Throw them fins up. Throw them fins hands up. It's the new era and we back up in the mid. MIAMIDOLPHINs. Where do I begin? I've been rapping since the if you rapping, then we can.
Oh boy. Oh, and the baby. Yo, that's actually hilarious.
I heard Colby had a similar reaction, but it was the complete opposite. Basically, Colby was like upset when Malik Washington scored that punt return touchdown, but then he was ecstatic when Antonio Gibson scored for that kick return.
Yeah, and Alper was the same way. He would because the Patriots drive before that punt return was abysmal. It was like he said a signature short screen pass called by Josh McDaniels on like 3rd and 21 or whatever we had from our own like 6-yard line. And it obviously didn't work. And Bryce Behringer had a really good punt, only to be returned 74 yards by second-year running back Malik Washington. And Brett Alper was beside himself. You know, it's like, you can't do that. We're still in this game. You know, it's still a wide open game, but still, our defense, even Gonzalez, cannot be doing that. And then along comes Antonio Gibson with a 90-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. And you probably remember this, Austin, at the preseason game against Washington. Obviously, Stevenson had that 100-yard kickoff return to start off the game. Gibson nearly had another one, a full field kickoff return. I forget exactly when it was, but we nearly had, 2 or even 3 in that game. So yeah, that was not something I'd ever think I'd see 2 back-to-back near length of the field plays like that. That was quite exciting. I was on a walk for for the second half of that fourth quarter because I get nervous during these Pats games, and I was sweating freaking bullets. But yeah, that's not something I ever expected to see. And we'll obviously talk about the end of the fourth quarter upcoming. But yeah, that was a really exciting time.
I think when we were at that preseason game as well, we were watching it. Obviously, we exploded for Henderson with the kick return. And then on that one where Gibson almost seemed like he kind of ran out of gas, couldn't get that edge type of thing. Yeah, we kind of posed the question, like, does Gibson have that same, maybe not the same explosiveness as Henderson, but does he have enough to, warrant being on the kick returns? And I think, like, that answered that right there.
He proved yesterday that he does 100%.
Yeah, like his breakaway speed was really nice. I like the way he, found the holes within the the play. So yeah, it was great.
He tuckered out in that Washington game. Like you could see like he wanted to do it, and he was like run, slow down, stop. It was really weird, and I could understand thinking like, yeah, I mean, this guy is a little older, obviously, than Henderson, who's a rookie. But, exactly like you said, does he have it in him? And he proved yesterday that he absolutely does. He had another couple of exciting catches, too.
Yeah, but before we get started to the actual breakdown, please make sure that if you haven't already, please make sure that you smash the like button, hit subscribe. It's completely free and helps us grow significantly, and we appreciate that support. And also share this with all of your friends, family, anybody who is a Patriots fan or even an NFL fan. And please come here and join this journey with us, this 17-week journey here throughout the entire regular season. You do not want to miss this. And we're going to do some preview shows. We're going to do post-game shows here on this Patriots MayeFlower Voyage. You do not want to forget. And as always, please post your questions and comments in the YouTube chat, as always. And we're going to start off with this quick question, not Patriots related, but MJ is asking me if I am excited for the Bruins this upcoming season, because I'm not. I'm in the same boat with you, MJ. I am not excited for the Bruins because I am not a huge fan of Don Sweeney, who is even worse of a general manager than Bill Belichick and Elliot Wolf combined. So there you go.
And that's saying something, and I'm not a hockey guy.
Yeah, but let's get started with our immediate reactions and thoughts on this game before we like break down with like the team stats, breaking down like all the position, not like positions, but just mainly focusing on offense and defense, coaching, blah, blah, blah. So what were your immediate reactions to that game? I'll start with you, Andy.
4 words, actually. Ugly, but gutsy / clutch win. There were times when I was like, okay, here is a team that looked dead in the water a week ago, whom you can't fully put away after you spent God knows how much money on that defensive side of the ball. Although we'll get to this later in the show, Milton Williams wound up pretty much being worth every penny in that game. But for a lot of it was like, okay, like the absence, not only is the absence of Gonzo showing, because the Patriots secondary has let up like some 680 passing yards over 2 games. But these penalties have got to stop. I think we were called for 12 in total yesterday. 3 of those were on Marte Mapu, 1 on Will Campbell, if I'm not mistaken, and 1 on Mike Onwenu. But the false starts have got to stop. The illegal shift has got to stop. And that's something I think McDaniels and Vrabel and Marone can work on, because this is a young team, like we were talking about a week ago. But it actually looked like they were starting to find their footing in that Miami game, like spread the ball around, make things complicated for the defense. Not that Miami's is that great, but they still have, Bradley Chubb is still a stud. I forget they still have Minkah Fitzpatrick, who or they have Minkah Fitzpatrick rather from the Steelers, who's kind of washed. But I mean, you made things much more complicated for the Dolphins defense than you did for the Raiders defense. And that was one of my main ask after last week's game was, I don't even care if you win. Just I don't want vanilla, I want caramel swirl. And we got it yesterday. And that was delicious.
Definitely. How about you, Austin?
Yeah, I think one of the things I'm most pleased with was our early script and tempo. I thought the fact that we went down the field 3 drives in a row, scored a touchdown to Matt Collins on that out route. We scored a touchdown with Kayshon Boutte on a 16-yard catch where he caught it with one hand over Jack Jones, essentially. And then a nice field goal from Borregales. Biggest things on those drives that I'd like to see clean up was Borregales missing the extra points. That can't be a thing moving forward.
No.
Especially talking about the kick he made, with a minute and change left, where he misses chip shots and then he's hitting a 53-yarder. Like,
yeah, that's just too hit or miss.
Yeah. I really liked our 3rd and 4th down conversion rate compared to the Dolphins. We converted 7 for 12 on 3rd down, and I didn't find ourselves like getting into a lot of like 3rd and long. There obviously were a couple situations, but we also converted on our only 4th down that we went for. Miami, on the other hand, only converted 4 of 10 3rd downs and were 0-2 on 4th downs.
And one of those, of course, was the game-sealing sack by Milton Williams.
Correct.
And the other was the pick by Marte Mapu.
I really like our explosive plays and the fact that we were able to be explosive without taking risks, without turning over the ball. Immediate play that comes to mind is the play where I can't remember if it's Judon or Phillips or somebody comes screaming around that right edge. Drake May.
It was Judon. It was Judon.
He steps up perfectly in the pocket and then just lays that pass right into Ramondre's hands up the sideline for like 55 yards.
No, it was Judon. It was Judon he ran away from on his touchdown run.
That's why I said I think it's Phillips.
It might have been Jalen Phillips. Yeah, I think you're right.
But to me, that's like the play of the game to me.
And that 55-yard, I think it wound up actually being a screen to Mondre.
It was like a wheel route.
Oh, okay. But yeah, it was like like I said, you were spreading the ball out. It was Diggs, it was Boutte for that touchdown, it was Mondre, it was Stevenson. It was Henderson. I would have liked to have seen Henderson a little more. But yeah, he found a bunch of different receivers yesterday. I think, like I said, he found Hooper on that one catch that put him on like the Miami 6 or 8. So yeah, spread the ball out. Your tight ends, your running backs, your wide receivers. Make it complicated for the D.
I really like their special teams as well. Like the fact that, we're all watching that Malik Washington return and we're just kind of like, oh, are you kidding me? And the resilience to come back and like just, it's like next play erase what just happened and just focus on what's going on right here. Like that's how good football teams win games. It's like you make mistakes, but you have to forget that mistake. You got to move forward with the situation at hand. And I thought they responded beautifully. And then the fifth point that I have for a positive is just I thought the situational pass rush was phenomenal. Milton Williams with 2 sacks, obviously the one on the 4th down. Chason and Landry with key sacks on 3rd downs, I believe, on separate drives. And like I think I had Mapu getting that pick because of the pass rush on that 4th down. Yep. So I just really, really liked our pass rush. So those would be, the things that I was really, most excited to see. Very good positives.
Speaking of pass rush,
go ahead, though.
Speaking of pass rush, we have a tweet from Andrew Callahan. I think it was yesterday. No, I think it was today. He said that playing through 85 to 90-degree heat, the Patriots pass rush somehow went from a 14% pressure rate through 3 quarters in Miami to 66 in the 4th quarter. If that feels high, it's because Tua simply stood and delivered sometimes, but that pressure saved them and won the game.
That's a really interesting point. And what that shows you is you've got a bull of a coach in Mike Vrabel. He knew they had, as Lazar said, that monkey on their back. They wanted to go out and get that white whale. He wanted Mike Vrabel, and he had this quarterback's number. He wanted to take the Patriots down there to South Beach and beat Tua. And that's why, you said, what was it, 14 to 66?
14 to 66.
Pressure rate?
Pressure rate.
Shit. So that is a team that wants to win. And we can crow all about how bad the Miami Dolphins are. They still have one of the best wide receiver tandems in the league. Cincinnati have Chase and Higgins. Hill and Waddle, they still combined for Waddle at 68 and Hill at either 106 or 109. So they combined for, some 180 yards.
Tyreek Hill had one. Yeah, he did have 109. It's just weird considering that we shouldn't allow Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle to get all these stats because last week against the Colts, these two never put up these kind of stats against the Colts secondary, and I was a bit shocked when we allowed Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle to go off like that. So that was
and A-Chain.
And A-Chain too. So I was really
92 receiving yards from a running back. That's how Oh boy.
That's how concerning it is for the defense.
Exactly. That's how concerning this secondary is. That's how much you need Gonzo back. That's how you Alex Austin, he was just getting picked on right and left by that Miami offense yesterday.
Yeah,
And
he's not your
no
bona fide cornerback one. This is why you might need to reconsider, like, should it be a coaching change with like the cornerbacks coach? Because I was on Colby's channel. I may have given a rant, but when I picked my winners and losers, I did say that the secondary was by far my loser because
100%.
Ever since the departure of Mike Pellegrino, who has been our cornerbacks coach for a while now, I felt like the cornerbacks development regressed by a lot. So
yeah, he was the one staff member. I think he left just this past off season. I was really Pellegrino. He was the one, like, I think, who actually should have stayed.
He should have.
And now and of course, cutting Jabril Peppers, just covering the deep part of the field without Gonzo is next to impossible. And we face DK Metcalf next week.
And now we have Justin Hamilton as our cornerbacks coach, which is concerning because last season he was the assistant defensive backs coach for the Indianapolis Colts, and the Colts were like last with their secondary. The secondary.
Yeah, I looked up those stats. He was bad,
and I didn't understand why we brought him. Like, I would have been okay keeping my Pellegrino. Now he's with the Bucs.
What's his name again, Dal?
Justin Hamilton.
I think he's a Vrabel guy.
Yeah, there was a connection between him and Vrabel when he was the defensive quality control coach, back in 2023 during Vrabel's final year as the head coach for the Tennessee Titans. But at the same time, the secondary, I was, to be surprised, the secondary was like shocking. Oh, so far for the first two seasons, because especially without Gonzo, the secondary got blown up in coverage. And it's like, they couldn't eat. Tyreek Hill and Waddle, they're like the speediest guys. And the fact that they couldn't tackle them or keep up with them, that's kind of shocking. Even though Carlton Davis only allowed 1 catch and 4 yards, that's still not enough, to be honest.
Yeah, the guy you had to ultimately put the clamps on to win that game was Tua, and they did it in spades in the fourth quarter. And fortuitously, it wound up winning them the game.
Yeah, definitely.
I will give props to A-Chain, though. Like, he almost single-handedly won that game for them. Like, that dude is insane. He's one of my favorite running backs in the league. Like, it's almost like if you took Tyreek Hill and just made him a little beefier and just threw him at running back. Like,
turned Tyreek into a running back. Exactly. Yeah. A-Chan. He won me one of my fantasy leagues a couple of years ago. The guy's you gotta give your props to Devon A-Chan. I mean, we were literally a step away from losing that game thanks to him. The kid, and like I said, he had 92 receiving yards. A running back, 92 receiving yards. The kid he's special. I mean, they should really be happy to have him down there in South Florida, and I think they are.
But for how long, that's the question, because we're going to briefly talk about Mike McDaniel, and I know we're going to talk about the game, but we need to briefly talk about Mike McDaniel and how stupid of a coach he is. More like Mike McDumbass, to be honest, because he is not a nerd boy coach, because there are times I watch him in press conferences and oh my gosh.
They played. I had Sunday kickoff on yesterday morning, and they played Mike McDaniel's presser after that Colts game last week. I thought I was gonna puke every other word. He go, maybe we should have done this. I don't know what happened on that play. Like, really? Like,
that is the
Are you high? Are you
Well, everybody thought he was like on drugs or something. That's
exactly. Yeah. It's stammer every 2 to 3 words.
What's funny is that Rex Ryan on Get Up last week, he called him nerd boy or something like that. It was like, he's not Mike McGenius. He's Mike McDumbass, to be honest.
Yeah.
And do you know what the worst quote I've ever heard from a head coach ever? He said, to win games, you have to win the game, not lose the game honestly.
What?
That's where that's kind of where
that is like that to win a game you have to win. That's like a non-funny version of a line from one of my favorite sitcoms. You once told me you eat what you eat. I mean, it's not like, these, you hear these funny tautologies all the time, but to hear a football coach essentially say to win, you have to win the game to win the game, like, how much dumber could you sound? Like, and he's from the Shanahan coaching tree. That tree has a lot of respect. It's obviously got Sean McVay,
Matt LaFleur.
Matt LaFleur. I think somehow is Kevin O'Connell somehow connected to them too.
Kevin O'Connell is connected to McVay.
Yeah. So anyway, it's like that's right up there with Mayo's "your words, not mine." It's not even stupider. Is it like, at least Mayo was semi-honest. That's not honesty. It's not. I don't even know what that is. It's just word salad.
It's like nobody wants to hear his old dad jokes. I'm like,
right.
You're a coach. You are not like some comedian. And besides, you are 0-2 in the league right now. You're not last in the division next to the Jets.
You're not Yogi Berra. You're not a walking, talking sitcom. You're the head coach of a National Football League football team.
I agree with you, DPF. 100%.
Thankfully, New England fans don't have to listen to Mike McDaniel after every game. Oh, man. Amen to that, buddy.
I want to get Austin's thoughts on Mike McDaniel because we haven't heard him for a bit.
No, I was literally about to pull up the quote you listed off, Dow. It's just laughable. I mean, he looked like a zombie at the presser, and he just was like, you could tell he wished he was anywhere but there right now, and he just looks so done with this team. I think he just needs to, I don't know, maybe look at getting a job in college or just being a coordinator or something, because, I mean, since he's been there with the Dolphins, they frankly haven't done much. I mean, I can't even remember. Maybe they made the playoffs one year, and it was like a first-round exit. That's like as much as I remember.
They made the playoffs, I think, in 21, and
how long? 22 and 23. The first one lost to the Bills with Skylar Thompson. The second one in the freezing cold at Arrowhead.
Yeah, so I mean, like, it almost felt like a shorter stinted Steelers. I'm not going to compare them to that, but it just feels like if they did make the playoffs, it's like they're not going anywhere.
Oh, you mean a shorter playoff stint, you mean?
Yeah, like they're just the type of team that, like, regular season, yeah, they throw it together, but once it hits playoffs, they're just not doing anything.
It's the Cowboys, it's the Steelers, it's the Dolphins. They get to the playoffs and
and they just need a change because I honestly don't know the direction of that team right now. You got
I don't.
Basically a 32-year-old receiver. You got a quarterback that's a concussion away from never touching the football field ever again. I feel like your most valuable players are like A-Chain and Waddle. Like, those guys are still young enough where you can build the team around. Their offensive line is atrocious. Like, it's almost outside of the offensive weapons, you're kind of looking at this team as like the Patriots of last year. I'm not even kidding. Like,
no, I think it's early in this, and everybody is saying this. It's early in the season. It's not quite time to write off Kansas City. We do know where the Bears are at, but we kind of don't. However many teams are 0-2 right now, 7, 8. But oh shoot, no, I lost my train of thought.
Like,
Oh, go ahead.
that's the Dolphins and the Jets. The other ones I could think of, like Cleveland, maybe the Titans. The Texans are currently playing right now, so I don't know. The Chiefs, obviously, but that's just because of how. Well, this is what happens when you have Travis Kelce on a decline. Your wide receivers getting injured, so that plays a factor. The Giants, they're also 0-2, but it's different compared to how the Jets did, where they start off hot and then Justin Fields looked non-existent for the Jets, and then the Giants, on the other hand, they started off bad, but in the second game against the Cowboys, they took it to the wire to OT. So it's completely different, these two sides. With the Dolphins, however, they looked crap after crap. No, regardless of how shockingly bad the defense was for the Patriots, the Dolphins, regardless, looked bad. Even at their home, they looked terrible. And I just gotta say that ever since Stephen Ross, the owner for the Miami Dolphins, made a statement saying that they are going to keep Chris Greer and Mike McDaniel, you know it's a recipe for disaster. You know that the Dolphins have made zero improvements.
Yeah, you do.
It's like you're not even competing to make it to the Super Bowl, and you missed the playoffs last week. You started off really slow, and then you thought you thought that you could get your hopes high again after your somewhat easy wins, I would say, and then you lost to the Jets at MetLife Stadium, which was like the nail in the coffin for the Dolphins. So I don't know the direction of where the Dolphins are going now. It's like, are they in a rebuild or they're trying to compete? Like, I don't know anymore.
It's almost like they're both, and yet they're neither. I mean, oh boy. I mean, I don't know. Austin, help me out here. I can't find words.
I'm trying to think,
Me too.
I would say they're in a rebuild, right? But the ownership just kind of says otherwise, if that makes sense.
The ownership, yeah.
It looks like a team that should have been in a rebuild last year with us, or 2 years ago. And then they always they just keep finishing middle of the pack. And they just, I don't know, they're not doing good with their assets. Their team's older. I mean, when you're relying on Matt Judon to get pressure for you on these pass rushing downs, wrap it up. I don't know.
Jalen Phillips could turn out to be a decent defensive end.
If Jalen Phillips, if Bradley Chubb, if Chop Robinson, if he didn't get hurt. I mean, we're talking, it's a solid front there on the defense. That O-line worries me, and the fact that their right guard and right tackle are going to be out for at least 7 weeks apiece. Correct. It's just,
yeah, I just feel like I have zero clue what the Dolphins are doing. And the worst part is, why the hell are you still keeping Chris Greer as your general manager?
Why are you keeping Tua Concussion Tagovailoa as your quarterback? And now I remembered what I was going to say. We all know it's only week 2 of a long season. But Austin, what you said might come true. They could finish last in the East. They're last in the East right now.
The worst part is they're playing Buffalo on Thursday.
Yeah, that's
at Buffalo.
And if that game is anything like competitive, I will be surprised.
Then again, we all know the Dolphins, because it seems like ever since Chris Greer has been the general manager for the Dolphins have done nothing. At one point they are competitive. It seems like the thing is, in the past, when they are competitive, they only beat teams that are under 500. But when they play teams above 500, they crap the bed big time. And it's not even funny. Everybody knows the Dolphins are fraud. It's consistently Buffalo. At one point, we thought that the Dolphins would win the division, but no, they wanted to give it to Buffalo. It's like, what are they doing?
And I mean, a side note here, I don't know. I shouldn't say I'm waiting for Daniel Jones to fall off, but this Colts thing right now, I don't. He's like, I don't know. It's early in the season. I mean,
Yeah, it's early in the season, but
things could look entirely different.
The Dolphins' offseason moves really baffled me too. I mean, I don't think they had a particularly strong draft whatsoever.
No,
and then
they
you're
didn't.
looking at like I don't know, the trade where they already shipped off Minka a year after having him, right? And then
they have Minka.
No.
They drafted Minka back in 2018. Then they shipped him off to Pittsburgh in 2019.
Oh, they drafted him. I didn't even remember. Jeez.
Yeah, so they drafted Minka, and then they shipped him off a year later. So then he's been on the Steelers this whole time. You let Javon Holland walk in free agency, and then you have to give up Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu Smith just to get a guy back that would have been on your team already. Yeah. With Javon Holland,
and also
they had like a reverse off season, if that means anything.
And then they go, oh yeah, we'll just throw Darren Waller in there. He can, plug and play. That's the type of player he is.
Darren Waller is a crumpled old piss sponge. I mean, you can't. Trusting him, I mean, and some people still do. Oh boy!
The worst part is that this is the same guy who did draft Minka Fitzpatrick and now wants it back. Like, I don't know what's wrong with this guy. Look who's into reserve.
You cannot have your cake and eat it too.
They have Cater Coe, who is going to be their cornerback one for the Dolphins. He's on IR. You have Alexander Madison, who is going to be running back two. He's on IR. You alluded to Austin Jackson. He's on IR. James Daniels, he's on IR. And then you brought in Jack Jones, who is who allowed 10 touchdowns ever since he was with the Raiders. Ever since he was with the Raiders, Jack Jones allowed 10 touchdowns.
When was Jack Jones with the Raiders?
2023 to 2024.
Oh, I didn't even realize we let him go after 22. Holy crow.
It was off the field issues.
With the whole situation at Logan Airport.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Now I remember.
And I'm like, you also signed Ifitu Melifonwu, who was an injury-prone safety for the Detroit Lions. You brought in what's left of Rasul Douglas. You have Storm Duck, who is basically a meme at this point. You re-signed Orange Sleeves Matthew Judon, who doesn't look good with orange sleeves.
No, he does not. The red, maybe, not the orange. He looks like a dinosaur.
You also gave Zach Sealer a 3-year, $64 million contract extension, who is not even worth that after that performance. So basically, I have zero clue what the Dolphins are doing.
Oh boy!
But let's get to the game. Let's get to the game. Listen, we're going off in a random like the Dolphins going off. But why are we talking about the Dolphins first of all? Because we hate the Dolphins. But just to be analysts, for goodness sakes, let's talk about the team stats and let's take a look and see what they improved at. So basically, total yards, they have 333 total yards, both on rushing and passing. So that was really good. 9 passing first downs, 8 rushing first downs, 1 first down from penalty. Only 10 drives for the Patriots compared to the 8 drives from the Dolphins. We had 55 total plays compared to the 52 total plays from the Dolphins. Drake May looked great.
Yeah,
I felt like this was like a breakout game, and I felt like after last game against the Raiders, I think that Drake May watch film, go into practice and see what he can work on. Josh McDaniels realized that Drake May is not like your typical Tom Brady or Matt Castle or Jimmy Garoppolo or Mac Jones, and just open up the playbook similar to how he did it for Cam Newton back in 2020, excuse me.
He is not a pocket passer. He's not your prototypical quarterback. I mean, And dare I say, I mean, he's still young. He was Josh Allen-esque. I'm not going to say Josh Allen-esque because Josh Allen is Josh Allen and Drake Maye is Drake Maye. But here is my little column. His best game so far as a pro. I do have to agree with that. This was the first time winning on the road against the Dolphins in 6 years to the day, almost exactly. They finally got the better of Tua Tagovailoa, which I think is something Vrabel really was hell-bent on doing, especially in that fourth quarter. He had 230 passing yards and went 26 for 32. Actually, no. Oh, no, I'm reading. No, that's oh shoot, I'm reading Tua's stats there. My bad. So here is May. He went 19 of 23, an 82.6% completion rate. 82.6% for 230 yards and 2 touchdowns. He ran 10 times for 31 yards and added a score on the ground. So this, I agree with that. You know, a breakout game for one Drake Maye. And Ramondre Stevenson, I didn't think I was going to be saying this. Possibly not this season, but he was a winner for me yesterday. 11 carries for 54 yards, a long of 21. He did not have a score. And silly me, I didn't look up his receiving stats, but
5 for 88.
5 for 88. All right, thanks, Austin. But he was Mr. Reliable yesterday. I mean, you could tell that, like, you could tell he had Josh McDaniels back, to be frank.
The best part is he didn't even fumble the ball, which I'm like, correct. Thank God I don't have to hear Ramondre Stevenson fumbling the ball and then being like, is Ramondre Stevenson worth that contract that he was given?
Not a single turnover-worthy play by Drake Maye yesterday either, which I thought was notable. And obviously, you know, he not only picked up his first signature win, he did it in a place that was hard for the Patriots to play at when we had Tom Brady. I mean, you know, the Dolphins could be practically winless, and we could still, a playoff-bound Patriots team could still go down to South Beach and lose. It's, you know, can I say, you know, Vrabel broke a jinx? No, but
I would say Vrabel's undefeated against Tua, 3-0.
Yep.
What's impressive is that we won finally since 2019 in that whole Antonio Brown saga game, week 2 of 2019, and then we haven't scored more than 30 points since week 6 in 2022 at Cleveland against the Jacoby Brissett-led Browns. That's like 1,064 days since we score more than 30 points.
And at 46 games, that was the longest active streak in the NFL until yesterday. So that's another bugaboo you got rid of.
And we haven't won a road game since week 10 against the Chicago Bears, 2024.
Oh, that's right. That's right. We picked up, it was the Jets and that final Buffalo game were both at home. I do have some more. I just do have a few more stats here. Mac Hollins had his only catch. It was the 8-yard score on that out route, and then and Boute's only catch was the 16-yard, that beautiful 16-yard touchdown over the top of Jack Jones. The offensive line looked far better than against Las Vegas last week. But still, Moses is a turnstile. He has made it look like right tackle is a need for this team. And Dow, as you were saying earlier, maybe consider plugging in Marcus Bryant.
Yeah, I know. Tyler said in the chat that hopefully Marcus Bryant could step up because he was the right tackle for SMU before transferring to Mizzo to play left tackle. And he actually, I think Austin said it in the previous live stream that he's 6'7", if I'm not mistaken. He has the build for a right tackle. So he does have experience at right tackle. And he was first team ACC honors back in 2023. And SMU were really good back then. So I hope that Marcus Bryant could be that guy. Or I know you guys are talking about this. Maybe look into the draft and draft a right tackle. And I know the one right tackle that everybody's talking about is the guy from Utah, Spencer Fano, if I think that's what his name is. I think it's Spencer Fano from Utah. But and he says Fano. Oh my gosh. Another T-Rex.
Oh no, not another one.
Not another T-Rex. Because the last thing I'm gonna hear is we should get the guy from the Hurricanes, Francisco. I forgot his last name, starts with the letter M, but if Marcus Bryant pans out for the rest of the season, if Moses is on his last legs, because basically I feel like he's on his last legs, and this is the worst idea I can think of, but Morgan Marshall should be more of an assistant offensive line coach.
Yeah, he could definitely look at the way he interacted with Will Campbell in the preseason. He an assistant offensive line coach would not be the worst position for him at all.
Yeah. And surprisingly, even though there were 3 sacks onto Drake May, they were not from the offensive line. They were from the other external players like Hunter Henry and Ramondre Stevenson trying to block. So basically, the offensive line looked decent. However, penalties. As you alluded to, Andy, we need to work on those penalties. And I know Morgan Moses, 3 penalties. That's not what you want to see from a veteran. And I feel like, especially when you're on your last legs, and especially when you're 34, suffering several injuries, especially when you play for the Jets, when you play for the Ravens, when you play for the Commanders, I think he needs to pack his cleats and maybe transition to be a coach.
I don't want to be sitting here saying old hat O-line penalties. I mean, really, we've all been saying that for too long. And in my special teams notes, I verbatim said, Andy B, you got to start making PATs. That's something. He was 2 for 2 on field goals. He was perfect on field goals. And one of them was.
But what pissed us off was not just those extra. It was not just those, but it was also that kickoff short penalty.
He wound up giving the Dolphins a short field, and still I think our defense only held him to a field goal on that drive. It was a miracle, but special teams was a mixed bag. Here's what I said.
They were a mixed bag, to be honest.
Borregales is lucky Achane stepped out of bounds on Miami's final drive. He was perfect on field goals. The aforementioned run touchdowns, or return touchdowns, I should say. Malik Washington had one following a Behringer punt for 74 yards, not only bobbling the ball near the beginning of that run, but breaking 3 tackles in the process. And then right after that, Miami kicks off, and Antonio Gibson breaks another 2 tackles and takes it 90 yards to the house for a New England touchdown to make the score 30-27.
And that was the reference to that TD clip that I posted from Master at Work. Once again, huge shout out to Master at Work for creating that clip. He said that in the AFC's roundtable that ever since he posted that clip went viral from that whole incident. And I'm telling you, it's flowers. It's like fireworks for Patriots fans going after Dolphins fans after what of an embarrassment it was from the Dolphins. But yeah, there's so many things we need to work on, especially with flags everywhere. Especially the thing is, the referee for that game was Alex Moore. He's a first year referee. The last time we saw him refereeing for us was in that preseason game against the Giants, and we all know what happened. It was like flags galore, like it's nothing. It's like I don't know.
The Dolphins, like both teams were heavily penalized yesterday. Was it 12 apiece, or did we have 12? They had 11. It was a crazy.
We had 12. They had 10.
They had 10. Okay.
And they also had issues too with like
they did
false starts and
Yeah. I mean, without like they got a penalty. It was like they had us pinned, and it was right before we got the field goal. Is in the second quarter, they had us pinned on 3rd and 25. Like
then we went to 4th and 25. I hate these kind of mistakes like that, but
they had us pinned on 3rd and 25, and we only got the first down on. I forget what the penalty was. It might have been.
It might be a holding call.
It was a defensive holding. I think that's exactly what it was. But yeah, again, closing out my little special teams column here. Many pundits are calling Bryce Behringer, quote, a stud following yesterday's game after one of his punt returns went for 71 yards.
Do you think that Bryce Behringer is better than our other punter we used to have, who's now with the Dolphins, Jake Bailey?
Austin, what say you?
Yeah, 100%. I don't know. There's really nothing to say. I mean, Jake Bailey walked, and we got Bryce Behringer, and I think we lucked out. I think Behringer's, arguably an all-pro level. I don't know if he's been, voted that, but you see the leg on that kid. He literally turns the field for us. So
yeah.
If we need to punt, that's the punter I want on my team, is a guy that's got a leg and is going to give us the best field position.
Oh, 100%. And he was
he's not like
out of Illinois and Michigan. Go ahead.
He's not like Jack Fox level, who is the first team punter for the Detroit Lions, but he at least is reliable as a punter. Like, he's not going to be like your Ryan Allen's or whoever the other punter was before Ryan Allen, but yeah, at least that's reliable. And I'm like, I hope the special teams improves regardless of how many touchdowns we allowed.
He was a 6th-round pick in 2023 and has been one of very few bright spots for the Pats the past couple of seasons. Career NFL statistics, his punting yards are 84-64, and that's just over 2 seasons and 2 games. 71 punts pinning the other team inside their 20-yard line. So that is a stud punt return.
Let's see what else. Let's talk about the rookie offensive line players, because oh my gosh, though it seems like the center side and the left side of the offensive line look great. Will Campbell with an 81 point something PFF grade, and then Jared Wilson with an 88.
That was I think their pass block grade.
Just the pass blocking?
Yeah. Because I looked at those numbers earlier and I messaged you. I was like, why was this so confusing? Because Tom had put them up. And then I looked at it and he says what he'd posted were actually preliminary numbers. Yeah. I can look it up again.
Can you look at the run blocking? Because they only give us like pass blocking. Will Campbell with the 81.3 pass blocking grade, 1 penalty. Jared Wilson, the 88.1 pass blocking grade, 1 penalty. Garrett Bradbury, 84.4, 0 penalties.
Really? So really, Garrett Bradbury's only flub was that near muffed punt. And yeah, I guess I do remember hearing that.
I don't know if we're like underestimating Garrett Bradbury at this point, but he looked a lot better. But that's only because he wasn't like guarding like these other guys, I would assume. Or I could be wrong, but nobody's been talking about Garrett Bradbury for a second. It's like everybody's focusing on like the tackles and then the guards.
Huh? This is dumb. Oh boy. Oh, that's why. Never mind.
So you got their run blocking grades, or?
I will momentarily.
Okay.
Oh shit.
When Andy's looking at, what are your thoughts on the left side of the offensive line, Austin?
Incredible. I really like the fact that 2 of our rookies were like in the top 10 linemen for the week played. 0 pressures allowed, or maybe it was 1 by Will Campbell, but regardless, like 0 sags, 0 hurries, like
that's 1 pressure by Will
That's
Campbell,
really good. I mean, I obviously wouldn't say that the Miami Dolphins, pass rusher, defensive line's anything special because of all the injuries that they have had to deal with.
Oh.
But the fact that, they stayed consistent throughout the whole game and, kept up the blocking, both pass blocking and run blocking. I think both the run blockings were a little bit better on PFF last time I looked. I could be confused, but they just played very, very solid. And I actually thought Bradbury played like almost as good, if not better. Like, I don't know. He's turned it on. I know at the beginning we were like, Jared Wilson's going to take his job. We'll have, Colt Strange at left guard or something. But nah, Bradbury's been killing it. Onwenu, I would like to see a bit better out of Onwenu. I think for him being our highest paid lineman, he hasn't really been playing like it. And I don't know if it's because
probably he has to take
Moses. He's picking up the slack from Moses. That's what I'm.
It has to be that. It has to be that.
Not to say Moses has been terrible, but
he's getting old.
Like Onwenu's grades are pretty bad, and I just assume that it's because he's having to help out Moses or something.
Moses is like, it's not that he sucks. It's just that he's getting old. His stamina is not there. I just feel like it's like this is not the young Morgan Moses we have. It's like he's getting old. He has been dealing with so many injuries, especially that injury that he had last season against the Jets, where we played them week 3. It was at Jets, and he had that injury, so that sucks. But going back to Garrett Bradbury, let me see. Let me find that quote that you said, Tyler. He said that Vikings fans said that's not the case. I don't know what to believe. My eyes are people that watch the Vikings, LOL. And then they said, I thought that they got rid of Bradbury just because of the upgrade they were supposed to get with Ryan Kelly. And the offensive line for the Vikings last night looked horrible. I don't know. To be honest, JJ McCarthy didn't look like himself. And it seems like JJ McCarthy will be out for the next 2 to 4 weeks with a high ankle sprain. I don't know what's going on with the Vikings.
Yeah, I think McCarthy's out 2 to 4 weeks, and I think even Jaden Daniels could miss a week or 2. So it's just, I don't know. It's kind of looking like Drake May's about to have, a huge bounce back year. I mean, it's very early, and there's a lot to be optimistic about, but I'm excited. I'm excited to see what he can do. And, let's say we get through this year and we're picking at 16 in the draft. I don't think anybody would be mad at that.
Yeah.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Also, I read your chat, Andy, saying that you have issues with the PFF. Sometimes PFF is weird. So it only gives us an overall grade. So I don't. So if I only have like, what is it? The PFF plus the package, it would have been a lot different. But since it's a little expensive, like I'm not gonna touch it. But let me get to some of your questions at this point before we get over to the defense. And by the way, guys, if you haven't already, only 10 viewers, only 7 likes. So anyone who hasn't liked already, please like the show. Also, share this with your friends if you haven't already. Please make sure to subscribe. It's completely free. Helps us grow. We're at 88 subscribers. We need to 100 so we can do something to celebrate our 100 subscriber show. Q&As, giveaways, call-ins, all that free stuff. So please make sure that you smash the like button. It helps us support, and also subscribe, and also share this with your friends and family. But let's get to some of your brief questions before we switch over to the defense. So NJ is asking, what should the Pats do with Keon White if nothing changes by week 5? So it was reported that in a previous injury report, report we discussed, Austin, Keon White was gonna be out because he had some illness, and obviously there were reports that he didn't look far too good. I would say his PFF from that Raiders game, if I can find it, it was a 46.1, so it was a below average. So should there be a possibility, like by the trade deadline, we trade away Keon White for our picks or assets, or we need like to see further development from him or like further tape on him to say otherwise?
I don't really know if he has enough for teams to want to trade for him. I only say that because last week's game, he was very underwhelming. This past week, obviously didn't play because of illness, so we're talking 2 weeks into the season. Trade deadline is the 8th week, I believe. So it would take a lot of convincing, I feel, to even get a team that would want that. I would just rather have him rotating in, honestly. It just depends, like, if he's going to be rotating in, is he going to be a detriment, or is he actually going to, add to our pass rush room, right? I think he's a good player. I don't think there's any reason to trade him. And I just don't think there's really a crazy market out there anyways. So
how about you, Andy?
Keon White, yeah, I mean, I think he's unfortunately, like people are saying, slid down Vrabel's depth chart a little bit, but I don't think that's any reason to consider cutting him. He was only drafted in 2023. He's still a relatively young guy. And I mean, yeah, we've got Harold Landry, we've got Kayvon Chase on, but I think, I'm sorry, I just can't be as elaborate with explaining things here as you guys are, but I think keeping him would be, just to have like a depth piece on that, on that front seven would be the best way to go.
Interesting. Caleb is saying, give Keon some time. He will be a good player in some capacity. Huge, strong, and athletic. He just needs to put some pieces together. Well, ever since he came into the draft, like he was drafted he was in the second round, day 2, and coming out into the draft, he was projected to be like one of those raw edge rushers, and he's not like your typical like Matthew Judon. He's more like from the inside. So yeah, hopefully there's some time with him, but by like week 5, if he doesn't get it together by when we play Buffalo, then we're gonna have to do some reevaluations. But it's still early into the season. Real football doesn't start until November or December, as Bill Belichick alluded to. So yeah, let's move over to the defense for a second, because
by the way, I put it in the chat, 88-1 pass blocking grade for Wilson.
Yeah, I knew that. I just was looking for the run blocking, but
run blocking. Sorry, I got that too. Run blocking was 42-1.
Good pass blocker, questionable run block. What about Campbell? Yeah.
Okay.
And then Bradbury, if you got a chance, but
okay, I will have a chance for Bradbury, but let's head over to the defense for now.
Yeah, defense has been a Cinderella story, because there are times where we actually gave Tua too much time to unload that effing ball and give it to Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. We gave him. It seems like the biggest problem when it comes to going up against Tua is that we can't do anything against those RPOs. And Dolphins offense runs a lot of RPOs against us.
They're whizzes at RPOs, and that's what you use Hill and Waddle for. I mean, you scheme them open, and Tua's a gunslinger. He can catch them 25, 30 yards downfield, and then away you go. And we had especially our secondary, thank God for that pass rush stepping up, because our secondary could not stop a nosebleed when Miami had the ball. I mean, it was, as Brett Alper called it, undisciplined.
It was definitely undisciplined for
that
sure.
was an undisciplined secondary, and there were a couple of times even an undisciplined pass rush because they just couldn't get a hold of Tua. But digressing here, Campbell had a pass block of 81.3, run block of 50.7.
So they need to work on the run blocking, I would say, but it'll take some time. But back to the defense. It's like there's so many like question marks now. Like, should we have never, and I mean never, get rid of Jabril Peppers? I'm gonna hark on that again because it seems like ever since we got rid of Peppers, it seems like we couldn't take advantage of the weapons that either the Raiders or the Dolphins had. So it's like, should we have never got rid of Peppers, even though Vrabel said it's for more like a scheme thing? Should we never get rid of Peppers?
Nah, I mean, at this point, I don't care. It was a decision made for the football team, and, whether it's going to work out or not is yet to be told. But, I mean, I like the way our safeties are playing. They're young. They're hungry. They, are going to make mistakes. It's just like Borregala is. I mean, he's young, rookie. He's going to make some. He's going to miss some. Jalen Hawkins, he made some great plays in the Raiders game, right? And then he would let up a play, and then he'd make one, and he'd let up one. And I thought Craig Woodson in this game against the Dolphins was pretty solid. There was one play where he did –
Craig Woodson, go ahead.
I just
think Craig Woodson, I was not impressed by him in this game. All I can think of were those two flags, but go ahead.
The only thing with Craig Woodson I would have liked to see is just him stay on his feet, because there was a play where Tua overthrew Tyreek, and he kind of fell to his knees. I think because Tyreek had to come back to the ball.
He nearly got a pick, yeah.
Yeah, if he was able to just stay up, he would have had a pick. I mean, like I said, they're young and they're going to make mistakes, but I like what I'm seeing from the young guys, and that's just something you have to expect when you do have a young team. Like, we have a big mixture of guys that are veterans towards, I don't want to say the end of their careers, but they're, either in their prime, exiting their prime type of thing. And we have a lot of guys that are really young, just kind of starting to get into the groove of things. So it's just, we have to understand, the type of team we're working with. So no, I don't really regret the Jabril Peppers. It would be nice to have him, obviously, but at the end of the day, I'm not over here like heartbroken.
Come on, Tyler, really?
It's a PFF up because Eric asked, how is our run block so low? I felt we did a decent running the ball. Yeah, we did a decent job running the ball. 122 yards running the ball. Bigger improvement than what we did last week, which was 62 against the Raiders. So it was a huge improvement. I'm sorry, I'm rambling about the run because we're currently on defense. But what? They say that Vince Wilker at the time was a 56 grade. Oh my gosh, PFF kills me. But let's go back to the defense. Like, if Jalen Hawkins got the interception, if Elijah Ponder never got that defensive offside penalty, Jalen Hawkins would have got that interception, and Tua would have had 2 interceptions. He would have been more of a Tua turn the ball over, but because of Ponder making that rookie mistake with that offside penalty, it is what it is. But
in that game, that drive wound up resulting in a touchdown, if I'm not mistaken. It was either our first or our second, right?
I think it was the second, because we had the ball first.
Yeah, we did.
But I want to talk about this one player, and he really disappointed me big time, and that is Robert Spillane.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying Spillane has been a letdown. So again, 2 games, not a big sample size at all, but Landry, yes. Chason, yes. Williams, yes. Spillane, a lot of people, including the 3 of us, were high on headed into this season.
And he's the captain.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is not the performance we were expecting from Robert Spillane. Like, I thought he can improve, especially from the last game to this game. Unfortunately, that's not the case.
I think the whole team overall just needs to improve their tackling and gang tackling,
definitely.
work together.
Tackling 100%, yeah.
Yeah, there are so many missed tackles, and that was the biggest issue from the preseason. Excuse me. Like, we need to work on those tackles because it seems like there was no clean tackles, especially when you're going up against a speedy Dolphins offense. Oh no, this is not the right one. He said, Spillane needs to wrap his arms when he tackles. Leave the body tackles in the 2000s. Interesting. Like, this is 2025, so it's like we're not back in like those 2000s. Like, we had no, like, it was like Reggie White or like one of those old guys, but we're too old for this. But I'm too young for this. But one player that really impressed me outside of Landry, outside of Williams, outside of Chason, let's talk about. I'm surprised that Marte Mapu has a 92.9. A 92.9. Well, I get it that he had that one interception, but it was reported that he was questionable at one point, but what were your thoughts on Marte Mapu's performance?
I was very pleasantly surprised by Marte Mapu yesterday. Obviously, he did, get what wound up being the game's sealing pick and, allowed us to get the field goal that was the product of a foul on Morgan Moses when, in lining up to go for it on 4th and 2. He's flagged for, I think it was a false start. I don't think it was an NZI. I think it was a false start. And then back to 4th and 6 you go. We kicked the field goal. But yeah, I was, that's the only pick the only play I'm remembering from Mapu at this point, but he's shown more through these 2 games than I might have thought initially.
How about you, Austin?
I think it's a case of him just making the most of the opportunities. He hasn't really been on the field as much as a lot of these other guys, but when he does come onto the field, it does seem like he's out there putting himself in positions to make plays. And, we saw it against Tua on that 4th down where he picked it off. And, it should have easily been a game over. I think we kind of blundered trying to pass the ball and get too cute, and we should have just ran the ball and made him waste time.
Right. Yeah,
but
maybe that touchdown and
a trick run with Stevenson or Henderson and get the first down in the game.
Just end it for the Dolphins' misery at this point.
Right. Exactly. And you wouldn't have to have your heart stop. And Spillane stopped. Achane stepped out of bounds on that final run, but heave that sigh of relief. But no, a first down, Mapu, and much like Austin, we talked about Antonio Gibson slowing up on that return there. Mapu slowed up after running the ball 10 yards the other way. I mean, he would have kept going and then just halted right then and there and toss. False start on Morgan Moses, field goal. That drive was vanilla.
Yeah. Also, there was also reported that. There was a question from NJ. I think maybe we can get into it. Like he said, "What are your thoughts on Kyrie's Tonga's partnership with Milton and Barmore?"
Ooh. Barmore had a couple of key stops yesterday too. I was kind of freaked out when he stepped off the field.
I was scared when he got injured on one play. But I think Tonga looked I think he looked great. I know he's like he's not like your typical starter, but for a 1-year deal, like he looked decent. And
he's looked very good for a guy who brought in on a 1-year deal.
Yeah, he only played for the Cardinals for a little bit. Played for the Vikings for a bit,
and he's 29.
So he's been very, very, very situational. He's only played in a total of 27 snaps, and it's pretty much dead even with run defense snaps being 14 and pass rush snaps being 13. He has 2 solo tackles with 2 assists. He has a run defense grade of 75.4, which is 13th out of 145 defensive interior, and he has a pass rush grade of 68, which is 27th out of 145 defensive interior. Overall grade being an 81.1, putting him at 5th overall out of 145 defensive interior players. So again, same situation as Marte Mapu, where I'm looking and I'm just seeing, okay, very limited plays on the field, but when he is on the field, he is, making a name, he is being disruptive, he is taking advantage of those opportunities.
So say those numbers again, Austin, sorry.
68.0 pass rush grade, which is 27th out of all defensive interior linemen, 75.4 run defense grade, which is 13th out of all interior linemen, and an overall grade of 81.1, which is 5th overall out of 145 defensive interior linemen.
Interesting.
What else? Oh, Patriots are currently in the league in sacks. Last season, we were dead last in sacks with 28 sacks. How do you feel about the defensive line's performance?
We had 6 sacks yesterday.
Actually, I think it was 5 sacks because we had 4 sacks last week.
It was 5.
We had 4. We only had 3.
2.5 from Harold Landry, 0.5 from Chase on.
Yeah, you're right.
But I feel like Milton Williams really popped off with 2 sacks, especially that key sack at the very end. I was really impressed with that. But I want to talk about the bigger picture. Terrell Williams has been dealing with another health condition. This is different than the health condition that he had in Detroit. What were your thoughts on Zach Kerr's play calling? That's a really big question because if Terrell Williams is going to continue to be out, do you think Zach Kerr should be the defensive coordinator moving forward? And what were your thoughts on his play calling? I'll ask you, Andy, and then I'll ask Austin.
Zach Kerr's play calling, he kind of looked like they were talking about on EEI this morning. He kind of looked like he was in a little bit over his head, and that was partly why we saw such an anemic backfield even without Gonzo there. It makes you think about, it's like, okay, would this actually be much better if Gonzo were there? Because Zach Kerr is a newer guy to calling these defensive plays. It seemed like he tried to overcomplicate things a bit, if you know what I mean. Oh, I can't really explain that, but I don't know. I just saw. But yeah, so it's like, okay, let me just put it this way. So it's like, oh boy, no, I'll throw it because Austin, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I thought he did all right. I mean, let's be real. It's Mike Vrabel's defense, so I'm sure Vrabel told him a lot of, you see this, you play that, you see this, you play that. Like, I think he did well for what it was. That was a conversation me and Dow had prior was, is he going to be up in the, press booth or press boxes way up watching the game? Or is he
when were you guys talking about that?
This was last Friday.
The pregame show. Ultimately, he did end up being on the sideline, and that's kind of what I predicted, just so he could be more personable with, the players and substitutions and whatnot. If this is going to turn into a long-term thing, yeah, there's definitely going to be some improvement for only having 4 days on the fly of being like, hey, Terrell Williams is out. Like, you got to be ready to go as our defensive coordinator. Yeah. I think he did well enough, maybe not enough to get a ton of praise, but I think he did enough for this team and to prepare the players on defense to, help us get this win. It'd be interesting moving forward. We don't know how many games Terrell Williams is going to be out because of his illness. So exactly. at the end of the day, it's more, let's definitely see how he does moving forward. It's definitely looking like he's going to have to be the interim defensive coordinator against the Steelers as well. So that'll be a big matchup. I'm going to that game. I'm nervous because I don't know. I feel like the Steelers could be sneaky good, or we could just go out there and destroy them. So
that game, I mean, it could be a really interesting game. Almost every Pats Steelers game is. You do, after Max Crosby, you do worry about going up against JJ Watt. Campbell against
TJ Watt.
TJ Watt, yes, thank you.
However, JJ Watt is announcing that game along with Iron Eagle, so that's going to be awesome.
Okay. Thank you. And then, they've got DK Metcalf. Obviously, Mike Tomlin is never at a losing record as a head coach, so that's. I'm not as sure that game is going to be a loss as I was before this weekend, but I would not. I am hoping for a win, but I would not bet on one as of now.
The thing is with the Steelers, and I know we got two other things to cover. Before we get to the Steelers, we got to briefly talk about the whole Gonzo situation, because it was reported that there's a chance that Gonzo might be ready for week 3, but what is the current situation right now with Gonzo? It's like he's been out for 2 games already. We haven't seen him practice since the beginning of July when pads were on. How confident are you with Gonzo being out for week 3 when he hasn't practiced with pads on for the team?
I'm not super worried. I don't think it's more of a, oh my gosh, is he going to be game ready? I think he has the instincts and, all the skills and the tool set needed for that. My biggest concern comes from the conditioning standpoint, where because he has been out, because he hasn't been playing these games, because he hasn't been getting the cardio in, I just worry that, he's going to be in for plays, but is he going to be able to be in every down, or is it going to have to be, substitutions? That would be my only concern as far as Gonzo returning to the lineup.
How about you, Andy?
Yeah, I'm not that worried either. I mean, August or July 28th, I think it's been since he was out, with a hamstring injury. I think we'll be seeing him at the latest, I think, week 4 against the Panthers, at the earliest this coming week against Pittsburgh. Vrabel kind of gave a very Belichickian response on that this morning. I'm sorry, I forget actually what he said. I can look it up here. Mike Vrabel. Yep. Vrabel on Christian. There we go. Mike Vrabel on Christian Gonzalez. He basically was just, saying there's a chance. That doesn't mean yes. That doesn't mean no. It's like I said, a very Belichickian response. I mean, yes, there is a chance he plays in week 3, but I'm not that worried about it. I obviously do hope we see him on the field come practices on Thursday.
Yeah, I hope so too. We'll get to that. We'll get to that in the preview show. I know, Andy, you're not available for that, but let's just quickly get over the winners and losers before we end off the show, because it's getting late, I would say. But what are your thoughts? So for winners and losers, just quickly give your winners and losers, and then we'll call it a stream.
I have my winner on offense is Ramondre Stevenson.
Mm-hmm.
My loser on offense is, oh boy. There really wasn't much of a loser for me on offense yesterday, oddly enough. If I had to pick one, it would be Morgan Moses. 3 fouls is just unacceptable. Defense, winner. It's a toss-up between Milton Williams and It's a toss-up between Milton Williams and Harold Landry. The loser would be Alex Austin. Allowing all those receptions to, yes, I get it. It's one of the best wide receiver tandems in the NFL. You have to at least try to stop, and I didn't see very much effort from Alex Austin in yesterday's game. In special teams, the winner, I'm going to spice things up and say Antonio Gibson with that 90-yard return touchdown. The loser, obviously, Andy Borregales. You can't be shanking extra points.
How about you, Austin?
Yeah, for sure. For offense, my winner is probably Drake May. I just wanted to see the consistency, and he came out and he proved that he was the best player on offense there. My loser on offense would probably be Pop Douglas. He just, I don't know, he faded into irrelevancy. He didn't do anything, it felt like. Obviously, Morgan Moses would be, tied or close second or whatever. I'm just trying to go with something different for the sake of being different. As far as defense goes, the winner would probably be Landry for me, just because he continued his hot streak and he just continued to be a very consistent pass rusher with ticking another sack. I don't know if he still leads the league in sacks, but he's been great. My loser on defense is Spillane. Gotta fix the tackling. Can't be bouncing off of players. I mean, I know he's a hell of a hitter, and he has been known for his tackling. He has to wrap people up.
Over Alex Austin. Interesting. Not a bad pick.
And then for special teams, my winner is Bryce Behringer, just because I feel like he kept us in the game by constantly flipping the field. Losers, Andy Borregales, and I that's to say I do think he recovered and proved that, he's at least trying to show us that he deserves to be on this team. It's just we can't have 2 missed extra points. Can't.
In that case, it nearly lost us the game. And how many games we've been in, we were in last year decided by a touchdown or less. It was we lost 6 of them, I think.
And the fact that John Parker Romo got picked up by the Falcons
and was last night.
Goes 5 for 5.
Rub salt in the wound, why don't you? I mean, just not fun. Just not fun.
Yeah, it's not fun. Looks like we're gonna need to find a kicker in the free agency market if Borregales continues to struggle, because he's definitely my special team loser. But I'll quickly get to my winners and losers. No explanation. Even though I had my winners and losers on Colby's channel, which was initially was Ramondre Stevenson, Drake May, Milton Williams as my winners. My losers were Pop Douglas, the secondary, and Andres Borregales. But I'm gonna spice it up here. My winners were actually the 2 young rookies from the left side of the offensive line, both Will Campbell and Jared Wilson, just because they looked really impressive, especially when they bounced back from week 1's performance. My loser is a toss-up between Pop and Morgan Moses, because both of them really disappointed me again.
Yeah, he did. Pop really didn't even do much in yesterday's game.
No, he did not. And then for defense, it's a toss-up between Landry. It's a toss-up between Milton Williams and Landry. But I want to say Chason is going to be my other winner, because he looked impressive, especially when you're giving him a 1-year deal. He looked great for the Raiders last season, don't get me wrong. And I think that the Jaguars really screwed him up big time. But he was a former first-rounder. And I think that he has the potential to be that guy again. And now you're currently at 1.5 sacks into your career with the New England Patriots. That's really good for K'Lavon Chaisson. My loser, it's between Spillane and Alex Austin. But I want to say the secondary as a whole, because they scared the crap out of me. When you allow Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle to pop off 103 and 69 collectively with Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. That scares me.
Exactly. Oh, 100%.
And then special teams winner, I would say Antonio Gibson, and then loser Andreas Borgales.
Yep.
And those are winners and losers. But that's going to be it for today's post-game recap. Thank you so much for taking this time to watch this live stream. Please make sure that you stay tuned for our Friday show at 8 p.m. with me, me, Austin, and Thomas.
There you go.
Stay tuned for that for episode 5 of Patriots MayeFlower Voyage here on this channel. And if you really enjoyed the show and you want to see more of it, please make sure that you smash the like button, hit subscribe, turn on those bell notifications, completely free and helps us grow significantly. Hype up this channel. We're currently at 89. We need 11 more to make this
89. Nice. Ticked up a little bit.
And also, please make sure, leave a comment down below. Who are your winners and losers from that game? What are your thoughts from that game, from that win against the Miami Dolphins? And what do you want to see against the Steelers next week? We'll definitely get into the Steelers on Friday because it's another classic rivalry between the Patriots and the Steelers, and you do not want to miss that. And as always, ladies and gentlemen,
let's
go
Pats.
Peace out.